Imagine waking up one day, and the world is completely different. No World War II, no Holocaust, no Nazi Germany, no cities in ruins, no atomic bombs dropped, no Cold War, maybe even no Israel. Who knows? Maybe the internet would have been invented earlier. And all of it depends on one thing, just one tiny thing. What if Adolf Hitler had become a successful artist and never gone into politics? A paintbrush, a few oil paints. Maybe that's all it would have taken to change the course of human history. In this video, we're diving headfirst into an alternate reality. A what-if scenario. A world where Hitler never stepped on a battlefield, never gave a fiery speech, never rose to power. Instead, he stayed in the studio. A painter. Just a painter. Adolf Hitler was born in 1889 in Austria, son of a strict customs officer and a loving mother. From a young age, he had a thing for art, especially architecture. He dreamed of joining the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. He wanted to become a famous artist, maybe even an architect. But here's the twist. He failed the entrance exam, not once, twice. His drawings were labeled too stiff, too technical, lacking artistic soul. That rejection, it crushed him. He stayed in Vienna, poor, alone, selling hand-painted postcards on the streets, sleeping in shelters. Now here's the first big question. What if that one professor at the Art Academy had just been a little more encouraging? What if they said, "He's got potential. Let's redirect him to architecture"? Would we still fear the name Hitler today? Let's play it out. It's 1908. Vienna. Adolf Hitler, with combed hair and a sketchbook under his arm, gets accepted into art school. He starts studying design, taking architecture classes. Every day he sketches cathedrals, learns about symmetry, perspective, composition. Instead of sitting in Viennese cafes reading anti-Semitic pamphlets, he's now discussing Bauhaus and Gothic revival with fellow students. Maybe he meets a girl, a fellow artist. They fall in love, get married. Maybe he travels to Paris, joins exhibitions, even holds his own solo show. Picture this, a beautiful canvas of Vienna's night skyline. Signed at the bottom, A. Hitler 1912. And the guy admiring it in the gallery? A young physics student who will later become Albert Einstein. Now let's take this thread and pull it through the rest of history. If Hitler never fights in World War I, he doesn't get wounded, humiliated, or radicalized. He doesn't blame Germany's loss on Jews or communists. He doesn't join a political party. No Nazi party. No propaganda speeches. No swastikas. No war. World War II, most likely, never happens, because a big chunk of it was a direct result of World War I's broken peace and the rise of fascism. Without the Nazis, there's no invasion of Poland, no blitzkrieg, no Axis powers. Here's a crazy domino effect. The United States might never have built the atomic bomb. Why? Because the Manhattan Project was created to counter the threat of Nazi Germany. Which means maybe we never entered the nuclear age, or at least not that soon. Let's hit on something even deeper, the fate of European Jews. The Holocaust, where 6 million people were murdered, would never have happened. European Jews wouldn't flee to the US, Palestine, or the Soviet Union. They'd likely stay in Europe, contributing to science, art, literature, culture. So here's the next question. Would Israel still be created? It's possible, but far less certain. Much of the post-World War II momentum for establishing Israel came after the Holocaust. So maybe, just maybe, the Middle East would look completely different today. Maybe the Israeli-Palestinian conflict never happens. Let's jump to the Cold War. Mao or no Hitler, no Nazi Germany. So the US and the Soviet Union don't form an alliance out of necessity. Europe might not get split into East and West. No Berlin Wall. No Vietnam War. No Korea. Maybe even no Red Scare in America. That's a different world. A calmer one. Or maybe a more boring one. Who knows? Instead of pouring billions into military tech, countries might have invested in science, medicine, education. Let's take a weird little side road here. Imagine young Adolf Hitler as a modern artist in Paris meeting Pablo Picasso in a cafe. Picasso: "You're from Germany? Cool. What's your style?" Hitler: "I lean more architectural, but I'm exploring expressionism." Picasso: "We should do a collab." And boom, they invent a new art movement. Call it Hitcasso. Here's where it gets philosophical. Can the fate of the world really change because of a single rejection? One man, one failed exam, one no. Can that really lead to genocide, world war, mass destruction? Turns out, yes. Because an unchanneled mind, especially one that's bitter and lost, can burn the world down. But that same mind, if nurtured, if guided, can create beauty, not horror, inspiration, not terror. Let's bring it into today's world. What if Adolf Hitler was born now, in 21st century Germany? Maybe he'd have an Instagram page, posting digital sketches every day. People in the comments saying, "Dude, your style's unique." Maybe he'd be making NFTs, selling them for thousands. Maybe he'd be streaming speed painting on Twitch. What? More importantly, maybe he'd find the attention he needed through creativity, not hate, through art, not ideology. History is full of what-if moments. What if that professor had shown some compassion? What if someone had just said, "You've got talent, let's help you grow"? One person's failure became the world's nightmare. But maybe one person's success could have saved it. So remember this, sometimes saving the world is as simple as handing someone a paintbrush instead of a microphone.